Acting and entertainment is a tough road. And most of them start very young.
Yeah.
Very, very young. But for you, you started pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why weren't you afraid to tackle something that, quote unquote, you had the disadvantage for because you came later in life?
I mean, there's layers to this. I wouldn't say I wasn't afraid. I was definitely afraid to explore it, especially like you said, being an older participant in the acting world. But I realized, like you said, I got into it late, whereas I look at it like I got into it right on time. Because if I would have pursued acting in my teens and my 20s, I would have burnt out and fizzled away very quickly. I would have gotten frustrated with rejection. I would have probably not handled it very well. And who knows where that would have led me to. However, this may sound morbid. I lost my father in 2014, and I tell folks often I needed my father to pass in order for me to live. And what that means is that my father was very sports driven, played double A baseball, minor leagues, and that was kind of like raising his son, you play sports too, and it's kind of piggybacked off of that. And the acting side of things you know, wasn't really an option, wasn't really there, but it was always something I wanted to do. Whereas as my father was passing away in 2014, I was also getting married at this time. Everybody's been to weddings, a number of weddings with the introductions and all of that stuff for the reception. And I wanted to do something different. So I had a film student recreate the end scene from one of my favorite movies, Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times. And my wife, fiance at the time, to her credit, was all for it. She doesn't want anything to do with the camera or, the spotlight, but she was all for it. And working with the film student, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted this clip to be this way. I wanted the black and white grainy film, and then I wanted it to go into the into the color screen as the scenes transitioned and everything. And I was taking direction well, but I was also giving direction. And the film students were like, "You ever try acting? Like, you're pretty good at this. You ever want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So it was one of the things I was like, yeah, I could actually try this. This is interesting. And again, my father after this passed 6 weeks after. And I made a pact with myself to say, if not now, when? There was opportunity here for me to strike. I always look at signs as, that opportunity with working with a film student and saying, I don't want this to be the last time this happens. So one thing led to another. A film student used me for one of their student films. In turn, another student needed me for a film. And keep in mind, at this age, when I was late in the game, I was humble enough to know I'm willing to do this for free. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to sponge. I'm willing to choose joy because it was joyful for me to just pick up and do these things and try them. But also not in my 20s where the ego would have said, no, you got to pay me. Or no, that's not worth my time. Or no, I'm better than that. So meeting this person and that person, this person led me to ultimately finding an agent. And I still find that kind of pretentious to say, like, I have an agent, but it was always the mindset that I said. It wasn't that I was late to the game. I was right on time because in my heart, I was ready to take on the opportunity.
Yeah, sorry about the loss of your father. I do know that the grief that comes with losing a parent there's a lot of different levels of pain, but I think the grief of losing a parent is one of the highest tiers of pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I empathize with that deeply. And I want to zoom in on what you said, Marco, is I was humble enough to take directions or take whatever instructions from a film student who has a background in filming and giving cinematic pieces, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that, whether it's humility, whether it's your curiosity, whatever you want to phrase it as, I think it comes down to your ability to be receptive for what's coming your way. This receptivity, right? Where do you think that comes from? Because I sense that in your ability to be receptive towards the signs, right? Or your receptive ability to listen to the directions, which gave you this momentum to be in more films and finally finding an agent. But have you always been receptive? Where is that from?
I always have been receptive, whether that was, again, my sports background when I was younger. not so much thinking a step ahead, but feeling what's to come, what's being presented here, and how am I processing this, and how am I going to not react but respond to this. The receptiveness from the acting aspect was understanding that I am wet behind the ears. I am completely new to this. Like, and I was humble enough to say that. Like, I had no idea what it is I wanted to do when I got into acting. I just knew it was something that was a unique opportunity I've always been interested in, whether it was commercial, whether it was television, whether it was host and spokesperson, which I had never heard from until I got into acting, which is like teleprompter work and doing work for like hotels or hospitals. And I'm like, wait, that's acting? Like, I never knew. And I'm like, and then, you know, being able to present and speak on stage in front of people, public speaking, but also that form of acting where your inflection and your tone and your delivery and all and your pacing and everything is important. And I was receptive to all of that because I was like, I don't know anything, but I'm here for it because, again, these film students who are maybe half my age at the time, and I'm sponging everything from them. Tell me why you're standing here with the camera. Tell me why we're over here. What's this thing with the lighting do? What happens if I go over here? Why do you want me on this angle? Like, asking all of these questions that, again, younger me would have been like, it don't even matter. Just, you know, put me where I need to be. I'm the star, blah, blah, blah. But being receptive to it also means I'm now receptive of everybody in the room, not just myself. The cameraman, the director, you know, the person holding the mic, you know, everybody involved. And it gives everybody that teamwork feeling, but it also makes me feel like we're all accomplishing something.
I want to go down into the your career. Speaking of multivariable backgrounds, different things that you do, I think you're in a really unique position, Marco, from my point of view. What I mean by that is entertainment business or modeling/acting is one of the most toxic and stressful positions to be in. It's very, very tough. There's so much talent out there. There's endless of good-looking people, talented people, right? Mm-hmm. At the same time, you're also a mental health professional, which I think gives you this unique perspective. How have that experience been like doing these two seemingly unrelated professions? At the same time, I do think that there are some spillover benefits, maybe one way or the other. Feel free to take this however you see fit.
It's never a dull moment. Put it that way. Speaking on myself, I hear rejection every single day. So in regards to my own mental health, how do I manage that? What I mean by that, by the rejection every day, is I may wake up to, I was expecting an email or expecting a callback and I don't get it. Or my agent flat out tells me, hey, you know, better luck next time. You know, so there's opportunities everywhere if you're willing to search for them. It's asking yourself what lane you want to go into and understanding, like you said, there's so many beautiful people inside and out. There's so many talented people. But it's understanding that you're not going to book everything. You're not going to be able to do everything. And then I meet people in the acting world who feel like they can do everything and want to do everything. And no matter what the cost. So I've met people in the hospital where I work that are comparable to people that I've met in the acting world when you're dealing with personalities and, you know, personality behaviors and disorders even. Interesting to me because I always put that in perspective and say we are one bad reaction or one poor reaction away from changing the direction of this, you know, this thing we're doing in life, whether it's acting or, you know, whatever we're doing. I always tell people up front, you know, if I can be vulnerable and I can be authentic and be genuine up front, then I feel you can be the same with me. And I would welcome that, because especially in acting where we wear the mask and we kind of present differently, I'm going to be the same person, whether I'm working in the hospital, whether I'm DJing, whether I'm acting, well, when the camera's not on, you know, as far as the character. But I try to always be the same person consistently across the board. That way it's, I want you to feel comfortable with who you are, if you know who you are. And if not, we can talk about it.
I want to zoom in on what you just said, Marco, that you not only experience rejections every day, but you're hyper aware of this possibility that you're always one bad reaction away from losing whatever you're doing. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, like I said, not every day is going to be a good day. There may be days where, if we're talking acting, I'm only anticipated to be on set for 3 hours. We go 4, we go 5, we go 6. It's 90 some degrees. There are variables, and it's like, well, we didn't agree to this. The rate or the time or whichever. You can break down. The ego can kick in. I can't work like this under these conditions. You can go there. And that can kind of ruin the reputation for whether or not these people would work with you again. Because again, keep in mind, that's a client. You're working for someone. Granted, it's a privilege and a great opportunity that you have, and they hired you to do that, but you're easily replaceable. That's also with acting. That's also with DJing. I could go to a DJ event and really not have the mindset or the attitude for the music that I'm playing. And I've done plenty of parties where it's not my cup of tea, whether it's a Sweet 16 or, the school dances or, how they say the kids today, the music today. So I can go into it with the attitude of whatever, I'm getting paid. I'll just play whatever and get through these next few hours. Chances are I'm probably not getting called back. Chances are I'm probably getting a bad review. It's, again, in that mindset. I can choose joy. If I choose to take the opportunity, I could choose joy, treat it like it's my last job, and carry on from there. Same thing in the hospital, and anybody who works in a hospital setting will know that patients will test your patience. They'll push your buttons, and they'll get you to the point where it's like, I'm one bad decision away from being in the gown as opposed to being on the other side here. So, and it happens. We're human. At the end of the day, we're human in that aspect. So a lot of it just comes down to, having to be able to not react, but respond. Recognize what's going on here, not personalize a lot of the things that are going on, and always be open to have those conversations. Hey, is there anything I can do here? Hey, is there anything we need to work on to speed up the process, whether it's acting? Hey, is there anything you need for music in terms of the kids? Do the kids have a specific playlist? Is there anything that I can do for them during the event? Just giving examples as far as ways to, it may, again, not be the ideal situation I want to be in, but I have no choice but to make the most of it because I would like to continue doing what I'm doing.